Hello, Mixer. How we doing this evening? Got all sorts of things in the plans for right now. We've got. This is actually a sort of an update here. We've got my small piece of corned beef here going. Still corning away. We've got a variety of spices in here with this guy, and he's just hanging out. We're making sure to turn him every couple of days and make sure that it's staying nice and well coated. Put this guy back in the fridge. That's going to be dinner on Sunday, since St. Patrick's is on Tuesday, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. Anyways, going to be doing that ahead of time in lieu of things. And tonight we have, if you notice on the stove already, I've got duck legs and Duck Confit that I've been making over the last week here on stream. Although actually this has been chilling in the fridge for most of the last week, but been working on this for week and a half now, and so I'm slowly bringing this back up to temp so that I can use that a bit later. I got the pan out, the big sheet pan out here, so that I can work on all of that without worrying about the oil getting all over the place. I'll show you how I do that a little bit later. But first and foremost, we need potatoes for later. So just doing a little prep ahead of time. We're going to cut some potatoes, carrots, and onions. Let's go with the... Almost want to use that one for this. I do think I'm going to use that. So I'm going to put the potatoes into a bowl for a short period here while we're waiting. And lovely, I've got the wrong mic enabled again. There we go. So we got some Yukons, which tend to be my sort of just go-to general purpose potato these days. They do tend to be a little too waxy for mashed potatoes, but we're going to be adding in a whole bunch of fat. We're going to be doing this like shepherd's pie, so we're going to be adding yolk in with the and cheese with our potatoes. So cutting those longwise here, and I'm going to chop them up. I typically cut them up fine and just leave the skins in there, which is my plans for this evening. If you want to go ahead and peel all of these ahead of time, you would have started by peeling them rather than cutting them in half. But this is just generally, I'm not offended by a little bit of skin in my mashed potatoes, especially knowing it's going to be better for me. And the skin on these guys so soft compared to, say, a russet potato that it's not nearly a big deal. That one was a little large there. The carrots and onion, and actually celery too, are all going to be part of our... We're going to do a rather simple stew here for our duck. I mean, we got our duck stock that we already spent all this time working on. We got all the Duck Confit that we've spent all this time working on, or I've spent all this time working on. And so we don't need to do a whole lot here to make it all that much different. We already got what we want. So I'm just going to do a simple mirepoix along with our duck meat and some duck stock. I don't know, maybe we'll thicken that up a little bit. We'll see how it looks. Probably thicken it up a little bit. In fact, actually, I think I'm going to do veggies, do a brew, then add the meat and the sauce in. Finishing our potatoes and then putting it all together, throwing in the oven at 400 degrees for, until it's done and looking beautiful. I tried the bread and butter Pinot recently. I have such a horrible memory. But it was a great... I really enjoyed that as far as a Pinot. I'm not a big Pinot fan. I'm not a big sweet wine fan other than, like, desserts. I say that making mead, but regardless. So I tried the Pinot the other day, and we've got the Cab Sav here today. So we'll see if this one's as good. They are blends. They are on the cheaper end. They are, well, when I say blend, I mean it's Cab Sav, and it's all Cab Sav wine, but it's a blend of what is. Looking at the labeling at this and nothing saying we're from here, this is our spot in the world. I have all the expectation that this is nothing but grapes that they've bought off of the market and have created a wine from. Not saying that that's a bad thing. It's just different from a cab that was single vineyard in a singular location that may have particular characteristics. They're just trying to make something tasty and sell it. I'll open that a little bit later on here after we get things going. I'm going to be spending quite a bit of time here probably picking all those duck legs and wings. That's going to be probably a significant part of the stream this evening. The actual stew and all that's going to be much quicker. And so if you want to start with Duck Confit, which is actually what's on this recipe that I'm using, which I don't really... not a big fan of, but if you're not going to take the time to do confit, you can do this much quicker by buying it and picking it out. But you're still it'll probably be easier than my situation here because I'm going to be dealing with a little bit of oil here. I should turn this down a little bit. We don't want this really boiling, but we definitely want all that fat to loosen up. And so that's the major difference between what you're probably going to get at the market and what I've got there. What you've got at the market is probably going to be refrigerated, packaged, easy to just strip right off fat. This is just going to be swimming, and that's why we got the pan here. So we're going to throw some water on our potatoes to keep them looking nice. those guys back there for now. Oh, come on, peel for me, onion. I don't think I've had more problems with onions until I started setting up cameras. Onions and garlic and so many things that were so easy before seem to take forever when I got a camera on me. Ooh, that's a potent one. It's getting to me. Onions don't usually, the acidity on onions don't usually get to my eyes that bad, but feeling this one. Oops. Ooh, cold water, not hot water. Wow, a little heavy on the celery there, I think. Actually, a little heavy on the carrot and the celery, but oh well. I'm not going to add more onion to this dish. Those onions just don't need any more in there. So those are going to set aside until we're done here with our duck. So I think I'm going to actually start setting up for doing that. Which take this guy out of the picture. Should have checked under my cutting board. It could have been nastier. I watched the rest of this before I started the stream. I just didn't think about taking the board up. Be right 1 second. Okay, more than a second. That was even longer than I anticipated. Our hands another wash up here. Don't know how melted we are here. Can I pull this all apart now? I think so. Yeah, I think that's all cooked. There we go. So yeah, just gonna pull each of these guys off. And of course you want to reserve this fat. This fat is amazing for all sorts of things, and it isn't done here. Use this for frying or sauteing or cooking eggs or all sorts of lovely things. so fall apart I can't even get them out of the pan. Which is sort of the plan. I mean, basically all we're trying to do with this, there's some stuff left in there, but it's mostly like skin and stuff like that. There's no real good stuff left in that. And I need a bowl here for our skin pieces. Actually, I'll just use a larger one. Throw our bones and skin pieces in there. Okay. This is actually going a bit quicker than I expected it to. It's too warm and you're doing it this way like I am, where you've made your own confit. You can throw on some gloves. Or you can wait for it to cool down a little bit. It's still going to stay liquid as long as it's basically almost room temp. Mostly doing this by feel. Don't want any odd hard chunks going on in there. Only about half done. I got oil already to the edge to the plant board here. Granted, I wasn't being very careful about that, but because I have the pan there to catch it all, but trying to justify my actions, I guess. Not much there. Not much on those wings. Definitely don't need that rosemary anymore. I don't know how it's looking on your camera there, if it's looking pink to you, but it's if you're not familiar with duck compared to chicken, duck is a much darker red meat to it, and so this is all looking beautifully cooked to me. I mean, the outsides of it are a little boring grayish because they haven't been heavily seared in some form, but the meat itself, I mean, the meat is gorgeous. You don't want to really get rid of all the fat here either. You want some of the fat in this still too. So I'm not worrying about, like, I grabbed a piece here a second ago that had a decent amount of fat there. That guy. No, I'm not worried about, you know. It's all just good eating. Okay, so we have our meat for dinner tonight. close up on all that goodness. Okay, we'll set that aside and we'll clean up our mess here now. These guys have given us their all. I don't know, maybe you could save the skins if you wanted to clean them out and crisp them up in an oven or a fryer of some sort, but that's a little beyond what I'm going to bother with here. And I think I've more than enough gotten my money out of this for the price of duck. So we're going to send this to the compost. You do want to be careful about throwing meat and stuff in your compost. I both have a worm compost, which I'm not too concerned with because I'm not using it to garden with afterward, or at least for garden food with in it afterward. But my county also has, or rather allows, meat scraps and similar in with the compost. Let's just go to the main. Clean things up here a little bit. My hair is just not cooperating today. Don't hardly bring these full sheet pans out. They don't fit in anything. They don't fit in my oven. They'll fit in commercial ovens. I have a mobile kitchen, but not here. So most of the time they spend, I use a couple of them for gardening, and I use a couple of them just chilling here next to the refrigerator all the time. So at least I'm getting some use out of one of them for once. Set him aside to dry off. Ooh. First, we definitely want that flame off. And I want to pour this into something else. So we'll just go into this. We'll make a mess. Get myself some water here while we're letting that oil drain. Sweating a little bit now. Sweating a little bit now. Don't know why, it's not that hot. Trying to be clean because everyone's trying to be clean right now. I mean, I'm cooking for myself here, so the health risk is rather low. I'm going to set the science project off to the side here because this is obviously going to take a little too long here. I was hoping I could quickly throw it through there and show you guys what I normally do with all my oil, which is just run it through a paper filter, through a coffee filter, and get all sorts of, don't have to buy as much as this stuff though. Got a jar of this goodness in there, in this refrigerator. So I'm going to clean this guy out. We're going to use him to cook the potatoes now. Making a mess with oil over here on the side and not paying attention. So our potatoes from before. Wow, I'm just making messes all over the place this evening. I just wiped this. So we now got that on a decent flame here. Add a bit of salt to the cooking liquid. And making quite a mess over here. Okay, pan going for our veggies. The duck we're going to hold on to and duck, we're just basically warming back up. That's basically done here. Actually, we're sort of only mixing it in there, and then we're putting it in the oven to warm it up. It's a little late for that now. Actually gonna switch sides here with the pans so you can see what I got going on here. Sauteing. Swap mics. Go to a stove view. Go to a zoom stove view. Got a little duck fat, why not? Getting a bit of smoke there now. Bit of salt since it's sitting in the pan. Turn our fan on low. Close our bedroom door so I don't set off the smoke alarm. Crushed pepper, cracked pepper, a little MSG. A little bit of garlic powder. Really need to get myself some new garlic powder here. Unfortunately, this is all pulling clumped up on me. It got a little too much moisture in it. Probably from me holding it over pans and stuff like that. Oh, darn it. I did. Oops. And they are frozen too. I went and put all the duck stock in the freezer, so it's all frozen. So since we're kicking around here for a minute, guess I'll open wine. Got another 10-bucker. Still like the cork on these. There's nothing special about it, it's just sort of different from most of the others they don't do. Now, as I said before, these people don't really seem to have a location. Their bottle says Napa. I think when I looked them up online, they were in Marin as far as a tasting room. So, who knows where they're really making this stuff? hear you, veggies. Start with butter. Adding duck stock. I think that should be about good. Thicken up with our roux here as it comes to a boil. No real smoke, decent amount of oak to it. It's not oak heavy. Again, not getting the rich vanilla that they're claiming about, which it's got a bit of spice to it, but it's no real. It's not hot. It's not a Zinfandel spice. It's not peppery. It's not. But you know you're drinking something. We'll see how that goes with our duck here a little bit later on. Might need that, actually. Why wait? Ooh, that's good. I haven't even decided what I was going to throw this into. That looks about right. As you can see, our potatoes are still going along over here. Still not, just on the edge of being a boil there. Don't have that on a full flame. Early spring flowers aren't lasting. Normally I get a bouquet on Wednesday. I buy my flowers on Wednesday, and they normally last me, and I'll often end up keeping them for like a week and a half, 2 weeks. I'll end up mixing in the next week's into the old batch, sort of a thing. This time of year, they struggle to even make it a week. That's even with they give me look like little crack bags. But the lady that sells the flowers takes some sort of nutrient mix or something for the water and baggies it up in little pieces of plastic wrap and tie wraps them. It looks so suspicious. Sort of want to say I think this needs to open up a bit. Maybe needs a bit of time or air. Looking at the color here, yeah, that's not too bad. It doesn't drinkable. Obviously, it's designed to be drank right now. I mean, cheap wine is not designed to be stored. I think I might add another tablespoon of flour here into this guy, which can be sort of dangerous considering as far as getting clumps in your gravy. But I'm going to put it all in one particular spot on purpose and then whisk it in. Cut our heat on that. Add in all of our duck. Okay, now I don't want to stir it up too much more. Even what little I'm doing there, I'm breaking up things a bit more than I want to. I want some chunks in there of meat to make you realize that it's just me, but make you realize that it came off of an actual bird. It's not just some cute diced mystery meat. So we're waiting on our potatoes now. Should get our oven preheating here. Going to turn the oven up to 400. That's what I can do while we're waiting. We have some cheese to grate. Have some Gouda cheese. Wax rind I'm pulling off of there now. Run that through my not so clean looking grater here. So I'm thinking I'm going to put my garden sprouts out here probably tomorrow. We'll see how the weather is tomorrow, but I've been waiting. I actually sort of wanted to put them out there a couple of days ago, like a week ago now. But the weather has been flirting with being too cold at night. We've been getting down 36 or so, which it certainly isn't freezing, but it's I mean, 4 degrees to a small little start. I don't know if I want to risk it after having invested my time in getting them going. This is a rather soft Gouda cheese. Rather soft. I think we'll live with that. Creamy. Wow, really creamy. I just cleaned that. Story of my life. Cleaning things that I just cleaned 30 seconds beforehand. Potatoes are getting closer there. Underdone potatoes one too many times lately here. Chopping them small makes them harder to see if you're actually cooking through. We're looking like we're pretty much there though. Should get some cream and other lovely stuff going here. Bit of half and half. Bit of butter. Bit of flame. Salt. Pepper, because I'm not worried about black flicks, and my front chef would be screaming at you for not using white pepper. We're going to use something larger. We're going to use the pot to do that. So just leave this as a mess on the counter for right now rather than get another dish dirty to just hold it here for 30 seconds. Couple of failures on the sprouts. My corn didn't sprout. I don't know if any of you looked at my Instagram page, but the gem corns didn't sprout, but I've had those seeds around now for I think 2 years now, if not more, if not 4 or 5 years. I've got and the milkweed didn't sprout for me either, unfortunately, but just about everything else is going guns a-blazes right now. I did lose one tomato plant, but I overdid tomato plants than what I really need. I really just sort of wanted one of each variety, and I did 2 or 3 of each of them, so I'm good there. Actually, probably have a couple that I can give away to someone. We'll see. I spent all that work filling up that raised garden bed, thinking I might just be greedy and plant all of them. So we'll cut the heat on those potatoes. We'll strain them off in the sink. That handle's a bit hot. taters. Yeah, we'll wait on this for a second. Wait on our butter to melt. All the steam coming off of my sink even still. Let's see, it's still coming up off of here. So our oven's up to temp. I used to say we don't got enough liquid here, and rather than adding even more fat in here, we'll add a little bit of stock, which will be good flavor, match everything else up here, and not add any more fat. Even though, I mean, half and half butter, Gouda cheese, duck that's been cooked in fat. We got quite a bit of fat going on here. Which is actually why I chose the cab. I have a Pinot over here. I have another cab. I have a Chardonnay for the cook along on the 20th already ahead. I got another Zinfandel. But I went specifically with the cab here because Zin might have been good with all the fat, to cut through all the fat. I wanted something with a little bit of oak, a little bit of something that could still tell I'm drinking something but would hold up to it. The Pinot would just be way too light for the amount of fat in this dish. Fair amount of salt here. We seasoned the water, but we didn't season the potatoes. We just poured most of that salt off, mostly because it was helping us cook, not necessarily helping us flavor. So now we need to add salt to flavor it. And a little pepper action in there. Thank you for the hosty wizard. Thank you for the auto host, rather. I haven't gotten around to doing auto hosting, but I'm not really sure I want to do it. I do want to host other people in the food and drink area, but so many other people that are doing food and drink are doing other stuff. And so I want to promote the food and drink section. I'm not really looking to promote whatever random game everyone's playing. Which, as much as I love gaming and all that, priorities. So we'll add all of our cheese in there now. Horrible for your blade. Don't do this to your knife. running your knife against the board like that is absolutely horrid for your blade. Got that. Need egg yolks. Gotta add a couple egg yolks to this so that we got some color. We got our cheesy mashed potatoes. I need a bowl to crack these whites into. That didn't work too well. There we go. Do I want to add more salt to those? Yeah, I do. Thank you for the host of Meeting Olive. So we're going to pull this off the cutting board, put this back here so you can see what I'm doing. We'll start by adding our duck stew into the bottom of the pan here. Careful not to knock our wine glass over. Let's just do it this way. I don't think that other bag is large enough anyways. I have a pastry bag, but I don't think it's large enough for this project. Mentioned about my pan ain't ugly. Don't want to seal it entirely, but 90% of the way there. Squeeze all the air out of this guy. And it just so happens that these type of dishes seem to be making rounds on the videos these days. Guess it's the time of year. But I'm certainly not the only one I've seen doing this with a plastic bag lately. So we got mashed potatoes. That is quite warm. And like I said, I have a pastry bag. If you want to get even fancier with this, you can grab a pastry bag with a piping tip and make nice frilly color on all of this. I'm mostly just trying to get a nice even coat on the top of it without, because you slap potatoes down on top of a stew, you start moving around, move all the stew around. So you sort of just got to lay it on top, and this is sort of the best way to do that. Where do I start off? Just keep twisting and keep filling in the what seems like the lower areas, so you used up what you got, unless you want to save the mashed potatoes for something else. Last of it here on top, I'm just going to smooth over. I'll throw a bag away, I'll be right back. And But see, like I said, if you had just plopped this down on top of that and then did what I'm doing right now, you'd be pushing that stew around all over the place underneath those potatoes. And this way everything stays a bit more even. And then, because we want texture in there, we want color, we want all that good stuff. Mashed potatoes. Gonna run a fork over the top of these. Which is gonna give us a whole bunch of crispy, craggly parts on top of this once it browns up in the oven. There we go. Save that. Use that for eating later. So this is going to go in the oven here. Let me see what the recipe says. I'm not really following the recipe at this point. But, gotta look it up again. Okay, about 25 minutes, so I'm gonna go with that too. That sounds reasonable for the thickness we got here. We already got the stew heated up. We already got the potatoes cooked through. We're just really making sure this is all happy together. In the oven that goes. And on to making our ranch dressing tonight. I'm going to do some ranch dressing because I sort of want a side salad to go with this. We'll pull out our box grater once again. Just clean this. What's up, Doc? Still everywhere. Ah, come on. My time plans is looking nice. I'm thinking I'm going to have lots of time for all sorts of food projects. Food time. Time I don't get enough of. I don't think anyone thinks they do. Just mostly getting rid of the big parts of the stems here. I'm not going to be perfect about cleaning up this dill. And yeah, I'm going to use pretty much all of it here for this. Going to have a dill heavy ranch here. I wonder how many dill haters there are out in this world. Dill's another one of those herbs that a lot of people seem to have an issue with. Not nearly as much as cilantro, but there are certainly people that do not like dill. And I wonder how many of those people realize how much dill there is in ranch. Don't have a timer going on the stuff in the oven, but we'll look at it here at about 640, which is roughly 20 minutes from now. So bummed there's nothing to even watch with this whole quarantine thing. Where, I mean, they've canceled all the sports events. There's no basketball. There's no Formula One. Arg. Okay, I lied. That's quite a bit of dill. Oh, maybe I'll use all of it here. Oh, that's what I was going to do. Oh, I forgot. Oh well. I got the buttermilk for the ranch. I was going to throw some of the buttermilk in with the potatoes, but I forgot to do that and just used my half and half like I normally do. Gonna have to figure out something to do with the other half of that. I got a small bottle of buttermilk. So, only a cup or two that I got to figure out to deal with, not that much. I know it seems like I'm mangling this up, and I am to a certain degree, but it's more for control, because the less you can go through your herbs, the better. And even just bruising them a little bit, bruising them is just going to give them flavor. But you don't want to have to sit there and chop them 5 gazillion times like those guys you see with, giant giant knives, just chopping herbs. Ain't the way to do it. Now that's how you chop some herbs. No, really. I guess so. Yeah, I've been having issues with that. I'm almost tempted to throw some curtains on my front door there. The other evening, the sun was coming in. The sunlight just gets it right to the point where it was killing my contrast on my main camera. I gotta figure something out with that. looks like a good bowl to use for this. Sour cream, we got buttermilk, and Cupie. Sort of like the magical dressing combo here. Yeah, mayonnaise, mayo, and buttermilk. I'm going to use the last of this guy just to use them up. It's a little bit more than I need. Use about half of this bottle here. And mayo. I used one of those already today. Went a little heavy on the buttermilk there, so I'm going to add a bit more mayo. Obviously going to last me more than one salad here. In fact, why don't we get the whisk out here and make sure we got everything well combined. Add a little bit of my fermented garlic honey. A little bit of MSG. Starting to smell that oven going. And lots of black pepper on our ranch. Our grinder's feeling and sounding a bit empty here. Bit of salt. Punch of cayenne. Little wise guy reference there if you're not catching. And I don't have onion powder, but onion powder would be amazing in this. The cayenne isn't necessarily to add any heat to it. It's more to act almost like, in small amounts, cayenne will work almost like adding lemon or some acid, especially when there's a lot of fat around. That heat, your mouth will interpret it more as refreshing the palate than the heat hot. Oh my gosh, that's spicy. Take a sip of wine here. It's mild, but the oak is coming out here today after it rests for a little while, airs out a little bit. I think this is going to do well against that duck. We got a bag of salad greens. I picked up at the farmer's market this morning. Yes, I went to the farmer's market. Still supporting my local small businesses and farms. Just keeping it sort of simple here. There's a whole bunch of sprouts in here. There's obviously some pea sprouts and some, I know they usually have sesame sprouts in here, or not sesame, but sunflower sprouts in here too. They're mixed. And they got some butter lettuces, and they got some radicchio, which they're probably buying the radicchio even though they're selling it at the farmer's market, because you can't, they're not growing that. So we mixed up that. I'm going to use I'm going to put half of that away for later, for salad tomorrow, and the other half we'll have for salad today. I wanted to mix in the carrot there so I didn't have to do it again tomorrow. Season and pepper our lettuce. And we'll wait for our food to be ready here. We got maybe 5 more minutes here. I'm smelling it in there. Let me take a look and see how this is looking. We got some smoke going here, so I should turn the fan on. Oh, we got some overflow. Should have planned for that. Give our board a quick wipe down while we're sitting here, waiting for things. I did try to, I mean, the whole reason that I'm doing the ranch actually today is so, you know, I got something to do here while I got 20 minutes in the oven. Which is sort of the hard part of streaming when it comes to cooking. Is you always got something in the oven or something going on that you can't really show. Let's see if this works better with the camera. There we go, that's a little bit clearer. What am I going to put the rest of you in? Oh, did I say something? Everyone left. Definitely got some smoke going with that dripping. We got some drops on the bottom of the oven pan floor here, so gonna be a bit smoky. Now I lost everyone. Let's see what our ranch tastes like. Ranch tastes like ranch. We'll put our last of our little bit of duck stock back away here. Put the last of our pastry flour away. Last of my pastry flour away. I don't know why I talk. I don't normally talk blurrily. I just seem to talk blurry when I'm on screen for some reason. Starting to get really smoky in here now. This is one of those situations where you just gotta let it burn off, though. Let's see. We're looking there with time. How are we looking on color? I want to give that another 5 minutes. So I'm going to open my front door so I don't set off all the smoke alarms. Go turn on my other fans here in the house. Starting to have some light browning on top. That craggly is working out for us at this point, but excuse me, smoke. Not going to be too much. Want it to brown up just a little bit more. Refilled all my hummingbird feeders yesterday, and so they're all happy and bouncing around all over the place around here. There's lots of people with hummingbird feeders around here, though, so it's sort of like whoever's got the freshest stuff is where all the birds are. It's like they keep, well, they do. They keep track of them, at least according to studies, they actually keep track of the owners of feeders and keep track of which feeders they like best. And that's why I like cast iron. That pan is done other than heating up. Gotta stay hydrated even when drinking. Okay, we done our extra 5 minutes here. Yeah, that looks lovely. I'm gonna wait until this pan finishes cooking now. Drying off my cast iron pan here after washing it out. There is our lovely, lovely looking pie. I think that's going to be tasty. Gonna have to leave that here for a minute or two to cool down. While that's cooling down, we'll finish mixing up the salad. Yeah, one more. Tasty. Howdy, Trigger. Just finishing things up here. We got side salad I'm mixing up. I got my lamb pie here. Or lamb. It's not lamb, it's duck. Duck is pretty good stuff. It's a bit pricey, mostly because it's not one of those animals they're regularly harvesting. They typically harvest duck once or twice or 3 times a year. Take longer to grow or raise. But their meat is much darker, much redder meat, much more iron to it. It's more like eating steak than it is eating chicken. Very cool stuff. Really like duck. Made our own ranch dressing earlier. I'm gonna finish packing that up here. Oops. But it's not just a duck stew. I confit these duck legs last week, and so this is a project that's been going on now for almost 2 weeks to come together for this dinner. I slowly cooked those. I bought 2 whole ducks. Bought 2 whole ducks. I butchered them up. I cooked the breast offs for dinner probably about a week ago now, and I had those for dinner. And the legs and the wings I cooked solely, rendered basically down in. I bought a container of duck fat and the rest of the duck fat from those legs and wings, and cooked that down for several hours, really low and slow, rendering out all of that fat, just slowly cooking all that meat, and then allowed that to sit in the refrigerator capped with the fat for the better part of a week, and then did this today where I stripped all the skin off, I stripped the bones away from the legs and thighs and wings, and made a quick simple stew out of those with duck stock that I made with the carcasses. And because I needed to do something while I was sitting there in the oven, made myself a fresh batch of ranch dressing and a fresh salad. But about ready to plate here. See what we ended up with. Other than a mess on my cutting board. But this is very similar to, if you're familiar with shepherd's pie, it's essentially the same thing. We're just substituting out duck and duck flavors. We're not really doing any lamb or anything along that line. I've done shepherd's pie with lamb on stream before in the past too. And that's a good time. Yeah, why not? Let's start from prettier side here. Actually get ourselves a picture of the whole thing before we completely mash it all up. Well, the major thing here is we're doing both a shepherd's pie or in this case duck cottage pie, where it's essentially a stew on the bottom, and then we've got mashed potatoes on top that I've added Gouda cheese and some egg yolks to get some coloration out of. Yeah, I was making that joke earlier. It's Gouda cheese. The recipe I actually was looking at said Comte, which Another easily findable cheese. Just didn't have it at the store today, and I didn't feel like going to a second store to get the exact same cheese as the recipe. And so we're living with a little bit of a Gouda cheese instead of a Comté. Yeah, shepherd's pie is a pretty common dish. Cottage pie isn't that uncommon either, but it's much less common than shepherd's, at least in knowledge, from my experience. Give ourselves a quick Photoshop shot here for the Instagrams. Every time I open my phone, there's something else that's closed. Got that, we got that. We got this. All right. So I'm going to go and enjoy the rest of this Cab Sav, which I haven't said a ton about. It's a 12 bucker wine, and it's pretty standard run of the mill Cab Sav. As I was saying earlier, it's not hugely oaky, but there's some oak there. I'm still not getting the rich vanilla that they're claiming. But it's a rather approachable wine. It's tasty, and just like the other bread and butter I had the other night, the Pinot that I had the other night, this is a cheap, approachable wine. I'm not unhappy with this at all. Is it something that excites me? Not really, but it's good. It's tasty. And so with that, I think I'm going to wrap up the stream this evening. On the ranch is quite tasty. On Sunday, I'm going to be doing St. Patrick's Day a bit early. I've got our beef curing away here already. We did that a couple of days ago, and I'm giving that a quick turn every couple of days, making sure it keeps getting coated and well submerged. So we'll be doing that for Sunday in preparation for St. Patty's. And on the 20th, I'm doing a cook-along. If you look down in the doobly-doo, or the new info down below, there's a list there of all the ingredients and stuff like that. If you want to come and join me again on the 20th and cook along with what I'm doing stuffed bacon wrapped chicken breasts with roast potatoes, and let's see, what all else did I have on there? Doing a simple chocolate mousse and glazed carrots. So that'll be a nice dinner. If you want to join me for that, that'd be awesome. I'm planning to do those about once a month. It takes quite a bit of planning from my end to do it, so I don't want to do it much more regularly than that. But thank you for joining me this evening. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you have a lovely evening. And I'm going to wrap up the stream and check if there's any other food and wine people cooking tonight, and maybe I'll host them. But otherwise, I hope you all enjoy.